Caitlin Clark is being undermined by the Indiana Fever's 5 poor players. Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark took on the burden of the league's interest as she started her second WNBA season on her back was a huge bullseye. Expectations were high following a record-breaking year in 2025. In his first season, he averaged 19.4 points per contest and has the most assists in the league, but the Indiana Fever have persevered, incredibly untrustworthy rather than departing. In actuality, there are a few significant shortcomings. We are now examining the 5 players on this roster. Players, starting with the guy who poses the greatest threat at number 1, who put a stop to the Caitlin Clark era. 5th place goes to Sydney Carlson. It seemed like a straightforward plan. On February 5, 2025, the Fever signed Sydney Carlson, bringing in an experienced player to, on paper, help the younger players and maintain order in the locker room. She has such an experienced voice on the court, despite her ghostly presence. She has only averaging 2.5 points this season. 2 assists and 0.8 rebounds in less than 11 minutes per game, consists of 28 games, and she hardly ever appears in lineups. When it's most important, E35, her playing has completely stopped. She appears shy even when she plays. Her slow pace ruins momentum. For a group that depends on speed, quick cuts, and ball motion at guards with a capacity to fire when Clark is ideal for making key moves, moving quickly, and acting without hesitation. Coulson dribbles excessively, makes late passes that impede the attack. He hesitates on open shoots. Even if he was a leader off the court, she is wasting her youthful gaming time. Players who are passionate about the game. Brianna Turner is the 4th. The surrounding circumstances. Even more annoying is Brianna Turner. It's not that she's struggling. Rather, there were high expectations for her. Turner, a superb defensive player and former first-round selection pick, was well known for his tenacity, intensity, and the ability to stop shots. No one has seen this player season. Even though just 20% of shots from, she is grabbing 0.9 rebounds and scoring an incredible 0.4 points per game. Additionally, 0.2 assists per game in 14 games. This year, she hasn't played for more than 60 minutes. These numbers are modest, but they also have a poor history. As a forward, Turner should take control of the glass, roll forcefully to the basket, and set up strong screens for Clark. Rather, she glides among belongings, doesn't make the most of her bulk, and barely offers a threat. Danger. She rarely employs defensive language when speaking, and her body language makes it clear that she is disinterested. Turner's minutes are now, so find a team that wants to give Caitlin as much time as possible on the court. Kelsey Mitchell comes in 3rd. Kelsey Mitchell's scoring history makes this one contentious. She has been the person to turn to since joining the league in 2018 as a Fever bucket getter. She averaged over 18 points per game the season before. Her average is still at 16.6 this year. The fit is more important than the numbers. Caitlin Clark is driving now. The motivation behind the attack. The team should gain from the ball passing through her hands. Her creation of plays. However, Mitchell continues to play like the starter guard, dribbling excessively, holding the ball over long stretches of time and using isolated objects to generate rhythm. When Clark is in possession of the ball, the offense of the Fever hums. The pace slows, the flow stops, and the spacing decreases as Mitchell takes over. The crew is in a lot of pain. More than the box score indicates because of her conflict causing aversion to change of styles. Defenders are aware of the strategy. Make Mitchell take the difficult shots, slow down, and relax. Although this squad rarely needs those shots, she is capable of making them. The main issue is this collision of styles. It is just not a good combo to have a ball-dominant striker and a once-in-a-generation creative. Mitchell is dissatisfied with the ball. Her defense is still subpar, and she is not a catch-and-run player. You want a threat next to Clark when a rival. Sue Heron shifts guards. Clark is forced to take charge. She cannot risk becoming. She strained her groin in July and is now unwell with extra work. There's also the impending contract drama. Mitchell allegedly wants the largest compensation when he becomes an unrestricted free agent. However, should Indiana actually foot the bill? The bill. You build around Caitlin Clark and AIA Boston when they are your cornerstones. Sharpshooters. protectors and selfless role models. Mitchell still hopes to be, even though it is no longer appropriate. The Alpha. Second place goes to Dyrus Dantas, IN 2024. Indiana hired Dyrus Dantas, and the plan was approved by a directive to continue the offensive. Rebounding muscle, paint durability, and floor spacing should all exist, but the influence hasn't kept up. Her resume only receives 5.0 points in 2025. 2 points with a field goal percentage of less than 38%, 3.4 rebounds every game. For a forward, that is far too low. Who is responsible for spreading the floor and finishing inside? Her transition defense is poor, and she rotates slowly. And she totally vanishes when things are hard. Key component of Clark's method is timing. When she breaks while driving, she requires companions who are prepared to shoot the defense. Dantas pauses, and in that moment of uncertainty, possessions, rhythm, and momentum are all destroyed. The circumstances are the same on the defensive end. Power forwards with the ability to switch, close out, and guard the rim are in high demand in the modern WNBA. All three of those late closeouts are difficult for Dante. Silent dialogue. Clark completes the voids created by hefty feet. When it comes to drama in the locker room, she's hardly toxic, and a passive sense, she is toxic. While younger, more eager players watch from the sideline, an experienced player keeps playing. First up is Natasha Howard. On paper, Natasha Howard is the biggest load on Caitlin Clark's system. She was the perfect signer. It has been a slow-motion letdown for a former All-Star, 3-time WNBA champion, and proven paint presence today. Howard has averaged 11.66 points, 6.8 rebounds, and 1.4 assists through 2025 AT first glance. It seems robust. But then the disgusting portion is revealed. 41% of the floor is not being impacted by her. That is a warning sign for a forward who resides in the basket with the arc missed bunnies. Poorly timed putbacks and short strokes that clank off the iron have all turn into the standard forward who can stretch defenses with a reliable jumper or finished. Clark's approach demands compassion. Around the edge, Howard is also struggling. She doesn't pass away brutally. She wanders away from the basket while, when she picks and rolls, her touch is all over the place. Move the ball. There is more pressure on Clark to keep the momentum going because of Howard's erratic play and scoring, a responsibility that no point guard should. Must be independent rather than dependable. She sensed the presence she had entered. Defense is clearly declining, and the past, Tasha Howard was a switch. That put everyone who defended in jail. Them, being able to quickly rotate, sharpen closeouts, and defend several regions without blinking. However, the eruption stops around age 32 since she is currently being beaten. Her footwork is precise on the first step, and her revolutions come too late. When the guards catch a glimpse of her, they cover and launch an unrelenting attack. She is now a defensive target rather than a defensive anchor. And excitement is equally important in this situation as skill. Pay attention to her nonverbal clues. Reluctant to return to defense after making mistakes, hunched shoulders. Little to no response following unsuccessful shots. Teammates make a tremendous play when timeouts occur. She is not the experienced, involved voice this young Fever squad needs. She is aloof in contrast to Caitlin Clark, who constantly compliments her teammates and draws attention to their flaws. And motivating the team even. That level of urgency must be communicated despite her injuries. T doesn't with Howard. The difference in expectations is massive. Howard's character was not introduced. She was one of the highest paid veterans in Indiana and was anticipated to work closely with Aaliyah Boston. Rather, she has turned into a hindrance. She consumes time that could be spent on players like Chloe BBY and Michaela Onyenwere, hinders and slows down the offensive. Players that run the floor, cut hard, and move with purpose should be spaced apart. Possibilities for change are: Howard's tardiness in making decisions led to his elimination. Howard is too far behind Clark. Someone will search for a cutter or caravan by applying pressure to the ball. She eliminates simple scoring opportunities and gives defenses time to reorganize. Chances if she resets after catching the pass rather than attacking, half-second delays are inefficient. Potential to the moment. Howard stands for every issue in the system in addition to material belongings. Inconsistent pace, fragile self-assurance, and production that isn't worthy of the wage. Clark requires a prepared shooter. When she calls for a switch, kicks, and drives, she seeks trustworthy assistance. She also needs every voice. Be heard as the huddle starts. This season, Howard hasn't supplied any of it. For Indiana, this is a watershed moment. The Fever have the most talked-about player in the league and a sizable fan base made up mostly of beginners. It's the ideal partner for pick and roll. She permits defenses to heal for Boston and Clark duck companion. Consequently, if she does catch, easy scoring possibilities are eliminated by the pass and resets rather than attacking. These wasteful half-second delays. Both resources and potential. Howard currently stands for every flaw in this system. Unpredictable speed, unpredictable confidence, and unworthy output of the pay. Clark needs a ready shooter as she drives and kicks. She needs trustworthy assistance. She wants everyone to be heard when the huddle starts, and she asks for a change. This is a pivotal moment for Indiana since Howard has never offered any of it at this time of year. Fever is the most spoken about. The league's best talent, a sizable rookie fan base, and the ideal pick-and-roll partner for Boston and Clark. However, hype and winning are not the same thing. It is essential to make decisions based on reason rather than emotion. To start competing, inadequate removal of the dead weight could cause Indiana to burn through Clark's prime and could lose her completely. The formula is simple. Be year-round athletes who will match her pace, strengthen her gaming knowledge, and safeguard her physique. There are further elements in addition to talent. It all comes down to understanding your efforts, work, and compromises for the collective. As a result, Lexi Hall is secure. She enters the room with ease and defends as if it were personal. Offensive flow and makes an impact without using touches. Sophie Cunningham is in a similar predicament. She adds presence even if she isn't the team's greatest player or has the most striking name. Commitment and zeal as a scorer. March 15th, it wasn't a horrible ejection versus Connecticut. 1. There was a message. You deal with me when you see Caitlin. Michaela Onion Ware is still uncooked. She's running across the floor. She seemed to be fighting for every second as she hammered the boards and hit double figures, and just 14 minutes per game. The Fever must think that way. Skilled athletes with the ability to fly down their lane. Chloe BBY, who is just here for a short while, has shown promise as well, and you keep building those kinds of bricks. For those who are really energetic and adaptability, this stretch is versatile. She pinpoints the precise floor. Caitlin Clark need a specific quantity of room to weaken the defenses of the opposing. She may not be a long-term member, but she deserves the opportunity. Ari McDonald is up next. It's a true coin toss. Donald took the lead while Clark was away. Can Caitlin tolerate being a backup when she is once again the main attraction? Or will her ego wreck her role? Now contrast that with the names. We've already talked about placeholders, underachievers, and the veterans who write huge contracts. Sydney Carlson, Dyra Stantis, Brianna Turner, and Natasha Howard die in addition to Payne. They are blocking the way forward. This is the reality. The future of the Fever has never seemed incredibly encouraging. The hat has space for them. They have selected drafts. Additionally, they have the most marketable player for women's basketball. The world is full of suitable role models. Veterans who are hungry, selfless protectors, and deadly. All of the spot-up shooters are watching, eager to collaborate with Caitlin Clark and create something truly unique about Indianapolis. However, that won't be possible until Indiana stops squandering roster locations and no more contracts with antiquated companies. High quality should no longer be prioritized before positive energy, work, as well as more charitable instances. This window is the championship window. Opportunities in professional sports also run out quick. Clark needs to behave properly. She doesn't need teammates. She needs supportive teammates. Please click like if you agree with me. Tell all the Fever fans you know about this, and express your opinions in A. Make a comment who stays and who departs. For the future of this team, time is of the essential.